You've been told it's your looks, your smile, maybe your confidence. But here's the brutal truth you might not want to hear. None of that, on its own, makes a man actually fall in love. Yes, those surface-level qualities might spark initial interest. They might grab his attention for a fleeting moment, but they don't have the power to truly keep him. They don't reach that deep, hidden place in his heart where genuine, unwavering love truly lives. Because real love, the kind that compels a man to choose you, to commit to you, to see you as his absolute non-negotiable one, starts somewhere you're likely not even considering. There is one thing that shifts everything, that makes him see you, uniquely, as the one he's been searching for. And no, it's not physical intimacy, not calculated games, and definitely not the exhausting act of pretending to be someone you're not. It's something far more profound, something he doesn't even consciously realize he's looking for, but once he encounters it within you, something profound shifts deep inside him. He finds he can't shake you. Your presence, your essence, begins to occupy his thoughts, setting a new, undeniable standard for every connection he makes. And here's the most captivating part. Almost every woman possesses this innate power, yet astonishingly, most never fully unleash it. In this video, I'm going to meticulously break down exactly what that one elusive thing is, and more importantly, how you can effortlessly activate it in any man, starting today. Whether you're in a confusing talking stage, navigating a long-term relationship that feels like it's subtly fading, or constantly baffled why men mysteriously pull away just when things seem to be going incredibly well, this single insight could be the missing link you've been searching for. So, do not skip ahead, do not click away, because the very moment you truly grasp this, you will never again have to wonder if he's falling for you. This isn't just theory, this is emotional truth, the kind that fundamentally changes everything. Let's dive in. You've probably heard it 100 times, a dismissive whisper across a dinner table. Men are simple. That, my friends, is one of the most insidious and damaging lies in modern dating. It's not just wrong, it's a dangerous oversimplification that derails countless women. It leads you down a treacherous path of surface-level strategies, convinced you need to perpetually look perfect, or strategically mask your true emotions, or painstakingly perform some version of the cool girl, just to keep a man minimally interested. But beneath the facade, beneath all the dating advice that tells you to be less, here's what's really unfolding in the intricate world of men's hearts. The persistent myth suggests men only chase fleeting physical attraction, low-drama scenarios, and a good time. But let's completely flip that script. What men actually crave, especially the caliber of man truly worth keeping, is something far more profound. It's something they rarely articulate, often because they themselves don't know how to name this deep-seated yearning. They want to feel safe with you, not just safe in a sweet, gentle, nurturing way, but emotionally safe in a way that allows them to bravely reveal every raw, unvarnished part of themselves, confident they will not be met with judgment, criticism, or dismissal. Most men are conditioned from a young age to suppress their emotions, to embody strength, and to never, ever display vulnerability or perceived weakness. So, when a woman appears in his life who intuitively understands this unspoken burden, a woman who creates a sanctuary where he feels genuinely accepted, not for his achievements, his image, or his performance, but for the complex, authentic soul beneath it all, it utterly disarms him. This is the moment the walls he spent a lifetime constructing begin to crumble. This is when the foundations of real, unwavering emotional attachment truly begin to solidify. Yet, tragically, because of the pervasive "men are simple" myth, women often get trapped. They contort themselves, trying to be perpetually chill, or endlessly available, or boundlessly understanding, all in the desperate hope that he'll eventually choose her. And here's the heartbreaking paradox. The more she overgives, the more she erodes her own inherent value in his eyes. Why? Because deep down, he's not falling in love with the performative version of you that's constantly giving, constantly accommodating. He's falling in love with the real version of you, the authentic you, the one who holds firm boundaries, expresses her opinions with grace, possesses undeniable depth, and has clear, non-negotiable standards. That is the woman who actually magnetizes a man into profound, lasting love. He might briefly engage with the woman who says yes to everything, but he loves the woman who inspires and requires him to step up. And here's something that might genuinely shock you. Men don't typically fall in love during grand romantic moments. It's not during the candlelight dinners or the passionate movie scene kisses or even the intense declarations. They fall in love in the in-between. It happens in the quiet, unscripted fragments of shared life. It happens when you subtly yet firmly challenge him to be a better version of himself, when you lovingly call him out with compassion and integrity, when you allow him the quiet grace to sit in contemplative silence without feeling the urgent doesn't need to fix everything for him. When you truly see his deep-seated fears and uncertainties, and you don't flinch, but hold steady. When you possess the serene courage to walk away instead of desperately begging for clarity or crumbs of affection, that's when he fundamentally realizes you are different, unlike any other. Because almost any woman can present as pretty, any woman can send flirty texts and laugh at his jokes, but very few women can meet him in the profound space where he hides the most vulnerable parts of himself. And this is precisely where the myth about men really crumbles. The misconception that men don't desire or can't handle emotional depth is a profound fallacy. The truth is, men are starving for it, yet they've been meticulously trained by society to run from it, to shield themselves, until one remarkable woman shows them just how incredibly safe it can feel to be deeply seen. And when you become that woman, the one who can hold sacred space for his profound emotional truth without, crucially, losing yourself in the process, you instantly transcend the role of being just an option. You become, in his heart, his emotional home. So, if you've ever found yourself pondering, why do men always pull away after things seem to go so well? Or, why do I continually attract emotionally unavailable guys? It might be because the pervasive myth coerced you into focusing on what men seem to want, rather than the profound emotional nourishment they truly need. And the undeniable truth is, once you grasp this critical difference, you will hold the indisputable key to his heart, not through manipulation, not through childish games, but through genuine, resonant emotional presence. That's the sacred alchemy that builds love, that doesn't just flicker, but powerfully lasts. That's what imprints the indelible thought in a man's mind: she's the one. Not because you were flawless, but because you possessed the rare gift of seeing the parts of him he was convinced no one ever could. And that insight, my friends, absolutely shatters the myth completely. There's one subtle, yet immensely powerful emotional trigger that creates a shift in a man so profound, he doesn't even consciously realize what's happening until he's already inextricably attached. It's not fleeting lust, it's not surface-level admiration, it's something far more potent, far more foundational, emotional significance. Every man, underneath the layers of ego, societal expectations, and superficial desires, is quietly, almost subconsciously, searching for one woman who makes him feel like he deeply matters in a way no one else ever has. And not just matters in the transient sense of being praised or appreciated for his efforts. It's infinitely deeper. It's the illuminating moment he feels emotionally seen, not for what he does, but for the inherent goodness and complexity of who he is when no one else is watching. That is the pivotal emotional trigger, the quiet spark that whispers to his heart, "This feels safe. This feels real. Stay here." Now, here's the crucial twist. Most women are diligently trained to focus on external markers, being desirable, beautiful, successful, or impeccably supportive. But surprisingly, that's not what truly activates this deep emotional trigger. What definitively flips that emotional switch is when a woman can accurately, gently reflect back to a man his own inner world with absolute zero judgment and an almost sacred, full presence. Let me elaborate. When a man is sharing something that on the surface might not seem like a monumental deal, perhaps a quiet frustration about work, a half-forgotten childhood memory, or a fleeting hesitation about an upcoming decision, most people would typically brush past it. They'd offer a quick, well-meaning, but ultimately shallow response. But when you possess the discerning intuition to tune into the subtle feeling beneath his words, and then, with grounded grace, mirror that back to him, he experiences something truly profound. Something he has likely never felt before. That's emotional recognition, and it sounds something like this. I absolutely get why that would bother you. It's not even really about the job, is it? It's about feeling like your earnest efforts are going completely unnoticed, right? Or perhaps even more powerfully, you probably don't hear this enough, but the calm, resilient way you handle pressure is actually incredibly rare and impressive. This isn't manipulative flattery, it's not fake compliments, it's about truly witnessing his unique truth and reflecting it back to him with authentic understanding. Most people only ever interact with a man's outermost layer, his public persona, but when you can quietly sit in silent, accepting presence and hold space for his delicate inner self, the messy, the unsure, the still healing vulnerable parts, you instantaneously transform into the profound mirror he never consciously knew he desperately needed. And that, dear friends, makes you utterly unforgettable. The true emotional trigger is the seamless combination of safety plus significance. He needs to feel like he can authentically be his complete, imperfect self and still be unconditionally respected, deeply desired, and fully accepted. And here's the subtle catch. You absolutely cannot fake this. You cannot wield this as a calculated tactic or mechanically recite these profound words as if they were lines from a rehearsed script. Because men, at their core, possess an innate sensitivity. They can feel the difference between genuine connection and strategic maneuvering. This kind of deep, resonant connection blossoms organically only when you are profoundly grounded in your own emotional intelligence. It happens when you are not afraid of true emotional depth, and crucially, when you don't require him to entertain you, validate your existence, or tirelessly prove anything to you. You're not there to fix him. You're not there to desperately impress him. You're simply there, truly present, vibrantly alive in the moment. And in that powerful presence, he encounters something he didn't even know he was profoundly longing for. Think about it for a moment. Most women, through societal conditioning, are striving to be liked, but the woman who effortlessly triggers deep emotional connection within a man isn't hyper-focused on being liked. She is resolutely focused on being real, and that is what unequivocally stands out in his heart, etched forever into his memory. This is precisely why some women, even if they don't conform to conventional beauty standards or possess an overtly flashy personality, leave an indelible mark on men that lasts for years, even decades, because it's not about superficial looks. It's profoundly about the unique energy they emanate. It's about how he feels when he is truly himself in your presence. And when a man experiences feeling emotionally significant and deeply understood in your presence, he begins to subconsciously associate you with profound peace, a sense of personal power, and unwavering authenticity. That's when he instinctively starts to prioritize you. That's when he willingly opens up, shows up consistently, and ardently desires to invest his energy and his future with you. Not because he's trying to win you over, but because something profound and undeniable within him instinctively knows you are his ultimate safe place. You are the one who truly sees him, and that is the emotional trigger no man, once awakened, can possibly resist. Let's transcend theory and talk about what actually works, because real life, palpable shifts happen when you witness how this plays out in everyday moments. One of my incredible clients, let's call her Maya, was dating a guy she truly adored. He was intelligent, charming, and seemed emotionally available, or so it appeared. But every single time their connection began to deepen, he would subtly pull back, just enough to leave her questioning everything. Not outright ghosting, not entirely disappearing, but just enough distance to trigger her deepest insecurities. Maya used to react by chasing, by over-explaining, by exhaustively over-giving, always assuring him with phrases like, "It's okay, I completely understand you're busy," or the heartbreaking, "I just want you to be happy." But during one transformative coaching session, we reframed her entire approach. I simply asked her to try something both simple and profoundly powerful. Instead of trying to prove she was worthy, she began showing up, already believing in her inherent worth. So, the very next time he began to subtly pull back, she didn't panic. She didn't bombard him with a flurry of anxious texts. She calmly and confidently said, "Hey, I've noticed a little distance lately. I really value true connection, and when it feels off, I choose to pause rather than chase. If something's truly on your mind, I'm genuinely here to listen. If not, that's okay too." That single, emotionally intelligent message changed absolutely everything. He responded within minutes, not just with perfunctory reassurance, but with profound openness. He confessed he'd been overwhelmed at work and deeply appreciated how she intuitively saw his struggle without any pressure to perform. Because what truly works isn't always what's loud or demanding. What works is unwavering clarity expressed with calm, anchored energy. Let me share another compelling example. Rachel, a brilliant woman, had always been advised to act cool around guys. "Don't be too emotional," they said. "Don't be too deep, just be fun." But fun alone only took her so far. The connection inevitably fizzled out. This pattern persisted until she changed one critical thing. She started being unapologetically honest in the moment. On a memorable date, the guy casually asked, "So, what exactly are you looking for?" Instead of her usual vague response like, "Just seeing where things go," she looked him straight in the eyes and said, "I'm not rushing into anything, but I'm also not afraid of depth. I deeply value a partnership where both people inspire each other, and I'm genuinely open to exploring where this could go if it truly feels right for both of us." He actually blinked, sat back slightly, and then with a genuine smile said, "Wow, that's incredibly refreshing." They ended up dating for months. Why? Because she wasn't desperately trying to contort herself to fit his idea of what he might want. She authentically presented herself as the invaluable prize she already was. And men viscerally feel that powerful self-worth. It makes you, without question, unforgettable. Real connection doesn't emanate from trying harder. It springs from being deeply rooted, from consistently showing up in your innate value. not from anxiously begging to be chosen. One last quick story, and this one truly is my favorite. A wonderful woman I once worked with had been married for years, but the once vibrant spark felt extinguished. She confessed, "I don't think he even sees me anymore," and instead of attempting to reignite it with extravagant lingerie or forced vacations, she did something infinitely more real, more courageous. She sat her husband down and, looking into his eyes, gently said, "I miss being truly seen by you. I miss being touched, not out of routine or obligation, but out of genuine, undeniable want, and I don't want to lose us in this numb, silent space. Can we start talking again? Really, truly talking?" He actually cried. Literally, tears welled up and spilled over because he had been feeling the exact same emotional distance but didn't know how, or even if, he was allowed to voice it. That one vulnerable conversation brought them back to each other, bridging the chasm that had formed. The unequivocal point is this: real, honest moments work, not manufactured perfection. It's not about desperately being what you think he wants, but bravely showing up raw, clear, and steady in your authentic truth. What truly works is articulately saying what you mean without debilitating fear. It's letting go of the exhausting need to overperform, and instead holding expansive space for him without shrinking or dimming your own magnificent light. It's embodying the unwavering energy of the woman who knows she is a magnet, not a chaser. These powerful examples aren't fairy tales. They are merely women who stopped fruitlessly trying to win love and instead started living in it. You don't have to radically transform into someone else to make him fall deeply. You simply have to bravely be more of you, with your beautiful truth, your genuine softness, and your unwavering standards. And that, unequivocally, makes all the difference. Let's be uncomfortably real for a moment. There are certain things that can instantly, subtly turn men off, chilling any burgeoning attraction, and most of the time, women don't even realize they're doing them. These aren't grand, obvious blunders. They're often subtle shifts in energy, nuanced behaviors, or unconscious communication patterns that slowly, meticulously chip away at the very foundation of attraction. And no, it's not about being too much or too emotional. It's far deeper than that. What profoundly turns a man off is when he senses, either consciously or subconsciously, that you don't trust yourself. That fundamental lack of self-trust manifests in 1,000 tiny, noticeable ways. It looks like perpetually second-guessing every word you utter, constantly checking in to desperately gauge if he's still interested, or subtly editing yourself to chameleon-like match his energy instead of confidently owning your own. That pervasive vibe of insecurity doesn't softly whisper, "I'm not good enough." Instead, it shouts, "I'm desperately waiting for you to tell me I am." And here's what's truly wild. Even the most emotionally secure, deeply available men will eventually start to pull away when they begin to feel like they are becoming someone's emotional oxygen. When you unconsciously, or consciously, rely on him to feel truly whole, to feel fully seen, to feel genuinely safe, that's when attraction, silently and tragically, begins to wither and die. Because the honest truth is, the kind of man who is genuinely worth your precious time doesn't crave a fan club or a caretaker. He deeply desires a woman who already knows she's worthy, who doesn't need to beg, convince, or perform mental acrobatics to earn his love or a place in his life. Another monumental turnoff: passive aggression and manipulative emotional games. When a woman shrugs and says, "I'm fine," but her body language screams the opposite, or she gives the chilling silent treatment instead of courageously articulating her needs, or attempts to dramatically trigger his attention by ostentatiously pulling away, it might momentarily seem like a clever power move. But to a genuinely grounded, mature man, it simply feels emotionally immature and exhausting. Healthy men don't want to spend their precious energy trying to decode your unspoken unhappiness. They don't want to play guessing games about what's truly wrong. They are not, contrary to popular belief, turned on by confusion or unnecessary drama. They are unequivocally drawn to clarity and authenticity, saying what you mean, directly and honestly, without a subtle side of manipulation or resentment. That is incredibly magnetic. But the second he senses he's inadvertently enrolled in a convoluted emotional game he didn't sign up for, he will, without hesitation, emotionally tap out. And we absolutely need to address emotional overexposure too early in a connection. A huge, pervasive misconception in dating is believing that vulnerability equates to spilling your entire heart out, traumas and all, on the second date. Sharing your deepest fears, the raw details of how your ex betrayed you, or confessing your profound anxieties that this won't work out either. Listen closely. Vulnerability is an immensely powerful force, but only when it is strategically paired with solid emotional boundaries. Men are instinctually turned off when vulnerability feels like emotional dumping, when it feels like you're metaphorically handing them your heart, shattered into pieces, and tacitly saying, "Here, please fix this." That doesn't foster intimacy. It creates overwhelming pressure and a sense of responsibility he's not ready to bear. What is infinitely more powerful and connection building is controlled vulnerability, where you share small, authentic, honest pieces of yourself, like carefully placed puzzle pieces, without expecting or demanding that someone else shoulder your emotional weight. That's the delicate art that truly builds trust, sparks genuine curiosity, and gently invites him into your world, rather than emotionally coercing him to hold it all. Also, neediness masquerading as being caring is a massive red flag. Constantly texting him for reassurance, needing to be in perpetual contact, or checking in daily to confirm he's still interested. That behavior doesn't subtly convey, "I care deeply about you." It loudly screams, "I don't believe you'll stay." And that insidious fear-based energy inexorably suffocates the vital space attraction needs to organically grow and flourish. Here's the undeniable truth. Men do not fall in love under duress or pressure. They fall in love in the expansive space of respect, in the quiet moments where they feel a genuine sense of agency to choose you, rather than feeling obligated or emotionally coerced to show up for someone who is emotionally clinging. So what truly turns a man off instantly? Energy that feels desperately grasping, conversations that fundamentally lack depth or mature emotional nuance, inconsistency between your carefully chosen words and your underlying actions, and certainly fear-based behaviors disguised as a genuine expression of love. You don't need to strive for an unattainable perfection. You simply need to be deeply, authentically grounded in yourself, because authentic confidence is the absolute antidote to neediness, and unwavering emotional responsibility forms the bedrock, the very foundation of real, enduring connection. At the end of the day, it's not about frantically chasing love. It's about consciously embodying the powerful, magnetic energy that love is intrinsically drawn to. And when you authentically do that, he doesn't reflexively run. He willingly, powerfully leans in. Lasting attraction isn't built merely on fleeting chemistry or superficial sparks. It's built on a deeper, more fundamental force, emotional gravity. And here's the crucial secret. That profound gravity doesn't emanate from trying to be endlessly exciting or constantly dazzling. It comes from being deeply, immovably anchored within yourself. When a man encounters a woman who feels so profoundly rooted in her own being, who radiates an irresistible blend of genuine warmth and an unwavering sense of self-worth, something deep inside him stops. It's like an internal reset, an undeniable pull, a profound gravitational force. This isn't the fleeting kind of attraction that quickly fades once the initial thrill wears off. This is the potent kind that steadily deepens and evolves into an unbreakable bond over time. And this, my friends, is precisely where most people get it so spectacularly wrong. They tirelessly chase grand moments. They chase butterflies, theatrical romantic gestures, elaborate over-the-top dates. But these dramatic displays, while momentarily charming, don't create lasting attraction. Those are sparks. They lack substance. Real, enduring attraction, the kind that compels a man to stay, to grow with you, to invest his future beside you, emanates from a powerful, consistent emotional rhythm. Think about it carefully. The women who leave an indelible, profound mark on a man's heart are rarely the ones who desperately tried the hardest. They are invariably the ones who steadfastly remained true to their authentic values, who inherently knew how to generously give without losing their own essence, who possessed the serene strength to hold expansive space while simultaneously upholding firm, loving boundaries. You don't need to be the most breathtakingly beautiful woman in the crowded room. You simply need to be the woman who feels genuinely good to be around, the one who makes him feel profoundly calm, deeply seen, and endlessly curious. The woman who isn't striving to validate her worth through constant attention-seeking or desperate approval, but who consistently shows up with profound openness and unwavering standards. That exquisite, delicate balance that unequivocally is unforgettable. Here's a deeper truth. Men remain magnetically attracted to women who trust themselves wholeheartedly, women who implicitly trust their own voice, their innate timing, their intuitive wisdom, women who can confidently say no without a trace of guilt, and yes, without a flicker of fear. Because when you truly, deeply trust yourself, you no longer need a man to define your worth, your happiness, or your purpose. And with a beautiful twist of irony, that profound self-possession is precisely what makes a man yearn to continually earn a cherished place in your life. One of the most persistent myths in dating is that men lose interest because women change. But more often, the heartbreaking truth is they lose interest because the vibrant, self-possessed woman they were originally drawn to tragically starts abandoning herself within the burgeoning relationship. She begins adjusting, pleasing, minimizing her needs, relentlessly trying to keep the peace instead of confidently standing in her full, radiant truth. That's when attraction inevitably fades. Not because she became too much, but because she ceased being her authentic, magnificent self. So, how do you cultivate an attraction that doesn't just bloom, but endures? By being steadfastly consistent in your core, magnetic energy. Be the woman who says exactly what she means, clearly and with conviction. Be the woman who doesn't spiral into anxious reactivity at the first subtle sign of distance. Be the woman who possesses the quiet wisdom to understand that space is not a personal rejection, it is simply space, often needed for reflection or growth. Don't desperately try to circumvent conflict just to keep him superficially happy. Instead, bravely lean into real, authentic conversations. Show him you are emotionally available, genuinely present, without ever being emotionally dependent. And most importantly, do not, under any circumstances, abandon your own carefully cultivated standards simply because you're terrified he might walk away. Because the right man, the kind of man you truly deserve, he is not turned off by your firm, respectful boundaries. In fact, he is profoundly drawn in by them, recognizing them as a sign of inner strength and self-respect. He is not searching for someone who passively allows him to lead everything. He is actively seeking someone who gracefully walks beside him. Someone who authentically inspires him to rise to his highest potential, not someone who desperately bends, compromises, or shrinks just to cling to his presence. Attraction truly lasts when there is mutual emotional maturity at its core, when there is a captivating polarity, your nurturing softness meeting his protective strength, your calm clarity grounding his occasional chaos, your profound presence making him feel more fully, undeniably like himself. That is what sticks. That is what undeniably stays. So, release the exhausting pressure to be liked. Instead, focus on being deeply felt. Allow him the privilege of experiencing your genuine essence, your unique voice, your magnetic energy, your true spirit, and then let him naturally, organically, come to the profound conclusion himself. She's not just a passing vibe. She's a connection so deep, so essential, I don't ever want to lose it. And that right there is precisely how lasting attraction is born, cultivated, and ensures it never, ever fades. Words possess an almost alchemical power, but not just any words. The precisely chosen words, delivered with the right resonant energy at the perfect unguarded moment, can melt a man's heart in ways he will never, ever forget. And the most extraordinary part? It's usually not the grand, dramatic confessions that land with the deepest impact. It's the deceptively simple, soul-level truths that most women, regrettably, never dare to utter aloud. This is because men, through no fault of their own, are not typically taught how to eloquently express what they emotionally crave. They might not even possess the nuanced language for it themselves. But when they feel it, unequivocally, through your authentic words, something profound softens within them. Their carefully constructed walls begin to lower, their guarded defenses gently fall. That's when the doorway to real, enduring connection swings wide open. Here's the transformative understanding you need to internalize. The words that genuinely melt a man's heart are the ones that make him feel exquisitely safe, deeply seen, and profoundly significant. This isn't about merely boosting his ego with superficial flattery. It's about reaching past his outward presentation and touching the sacred, vulnerable part of him that almost no one else ever truly sees. It sounds like this: I love the way your mind works. It's truly fascinating to listen to you. Or, you make me feel like I can genuinely slow down and just breathe when I'm with you. Or, you don't have to fix everything, darling. I just love that you care so profoundly and deeply. See, it's not about his performance. It's not about what he does for you. It's about profoundly affirming who he is when he's just being his authentic self, sans pretense. And those words, those resonate on an entirely different plane. Because while the demanding world might only admire his success, his public strength, or his outward achievements, very, very few people ever take the time to genuinely reflect back the quiet softness and rich soul that undeniably reside underneath all of that. Here's another exquisitely potent phrase that always lands with undeniable impact. Being with you makes me feel so wonderfully calm, like I'm safe enough to finally be fully me. Why does this specific sentiment melt a man's heart so thoroughly? Because men, as we've discussed, spend an enormous portion of their lives operating in an exhausting performance mode, constantly striving to be strong, to be capable, to be unfailing providers, to be the stoic rock. But when you graciously let him know that his presence, not just his tangible actions or solutions, creates an almost sacred emotional safety for you, it touches a primordial part of his heart that profoundly craves purpose and deeply intimate connection. Want to know a simple phrase that instantly shifts the energetic dynamic and elevates the connection? I truly appreciate how you show up. Not a generic thank you, not a casual "you're amazing." While those are certainly pleasant, they're often too broad. When you articulate specifically that you notice how he consistently shows up for you, for others, and indeed for himself, it feels incredibly intentional, personal, and profoundly validating. It silently tells him, "I'm genuinely watching, I am truly present, I see you beyond the surface." And then, there are the beautifully crafted words that gently, powerfully call forth his protector instinct. Not because you're helpless or weak, but precisely because you are consciously allowing him the profound privilege of supporting you, of caring for you. For instance, "I feel so wonderfully held when I'm with you, like I don't have to carry every burden all alone." This isn't a signal of weakness or neediness, it's an empowering signal of deep trust. And for a man, trust is the ultimate heart opener, the most powerful key. When you speak from an authentic place of empowered vulnerability, you intrinsically activate his natural, inherent desire to protect, to provide, and to deeply, lovingly pour into you. The real, undeniable magic in melting his heart boils down to this: speak directly to his core being, not just his superficial confidence. Touch the precious human part of him, not just his heroic persona. Say things like, "I deeply love how you see the world. It makes me want to slow down and truly see it with you." Or, "You're the kind of man who makes people feel better just by simply being in your presence." And most powerfully, when you look at me like that, I don't just feel loved, I feel truly chosen. These aren't mere lines from a script. They are profound, undeniable truths. And the more organically they emanate from a place of deep authenticity within your own heart, the more intrinsically powerful and unforgettable they become. Because at the end of the day, men don't just fall for the words themselves, they fall, head over heels, for how those powerful words make them feel. And when your unique voice becomes an undeniable sanctuary, a sacred space where he feels deeply seen, utterly safe, and profoundly understood, that's when his heart truly, irrevocably opens, not just for a fleeting moment, but for something beautifully real, for something that profoundly lasts. By now, you intuitively understand that true resonant connection isn't about fleeting tricks, shallow strategies, or manipulative tactics. It's profoundly about energy, pure intention, and unwavering emotional presence. But before we draw this to a close, I want to share a few crucial bonus tips. These are subtle, yet immensely powerful things you can begin doing right now, today, to instantly cultivate deeper, more magnetic connections. The kind of connection that doesn't just momentarily attract a man, but emotionally invests him, unequivocally, for the long haul. First, slow down. In our frenetic, hyper-digital world of instant texts, fleeting swipes, and urgent demands for fast answers, slowing your pace is a secret weapon of unparalleled power. When you deliberately slow your energy, your measured responses, even the rhythm of your own breathing, you instantly and profoundly shift the entire dynamic of an interaction. You become more grounded, more captivating, more magnetic. This naturally creates vital space, and in that precious space, genuine connection has the perfect environment to organically grow. It subtly communicates to him, "I'm not in a frantic rush, I am truly here, I am fully present." And authentic presence, my dear, is an incredibly rare and potent commodity. Second, get profoundly comfortable with quiet moments. Not everything needs to be incessantly filled with words or incessant chatter. In fact, the most profound intimacy often reveals itself in shared silence, in those soft, unspoken pauses where your eyes meet with deep understanding, or when you're simply sitting contentedly side by side, and absolutely nothing needs to be said aloud. When you release the fear of silence, you empower the profound emotional volume between you to naturally rise. It cultivates an unbreakable bond that is deeply felt rather than desperately forced. Third, venture to ask deeper questions, but crucially, without resorting to interrogation. Instead of the perfunctory, "How was your day?" try, "What was the most surprising or delightful part of your day today?" Or, even more revealingly, what's something you've been genuinely thinking about lately but haven't yet said out loud? These kinds of thought-provoking questions serve to gently unlock the richer emotional layers most people never get to truly access. They gracefully invite him to open up, not because he feels uncomfortably pushed, but because he intrinsically feels safe and seen enough to courageously reveal more of himself. Next, skillfully mirror his emotional tone. If he speaks softly, meet him there with gentle resonance. If he's playfully teasing, allow yourself the joy of playing along with lightheartedness. If he's brave enough to be vulnerable, match his openness with your own controlled authenticity. This isn't about chameleon-like becoming a replica of who he is. It's about resonating deeply with him, showing empathetic understanding. Emotional mirroring, when executed authentically and naturally, effortlessly, builds profound trust. It silently communicates, "I intuitively get you. I feel precisely where you are at emotionally." That creates a profound, unspoken connection that doesn't require any tedious explaining. Another supremely powerful tool, genuine curiosity. Not merely curiosity about his resume or superficial details, but deep, heartfelt curiosity about who he is at his very soul. Be genuinely curious about what lights up his inner world, about what quietly scares him, about what authentically makes him feel vibrantly alive. People unfailingly open up when they feel like someone truly wants to know them, not just loves the romanticized idea of them. And when you lead with such authentic curiosity, you're not striving to impress him, you're organically creating profound emotional intimacy through your unwavering, heartfelt interest. Also, never ever underestimate the profound power of affirmation without expectation. Sometimes, the single most connective thing you can sincerely say is, "I truly see you," delivered without needing anything in return, without attaching a single expectation. When a man feels profoundly appreciated, not merely for what he does, but for the inherent, valuable man he is, his guards melt away. And the deeper unspoken truth is that men crave to be deeply seen, genuinely understood, and fully acknowledged just as fiercely as women do. They are simply less accustomed to openly receiving it. One final transformative tip: let your energy lead. Your unspoken energy vibrates louder, communicates more profoundly than any words you could possibly utter. So, before any significant conversation, any date, or any potential connection, take a deliberate moment to check in with yourself. Are you leading from a place of insidious fear or unwavering faith? Are you attempting to rigidly control the outcome? Or are you gracefully open to the natural flow of authentic connection? When your energy is calm, inherently confident, and genuinely open, you don't just become attractive, you become utterly irresistible. You become the profound, safe space where a man doesn't just feel fleeting attraction, he feels deeply, unequivocally home. Remember, cultivating deeper connection isn't about striving for an elusive perfection. It's profoundly about being authentically real. It's about being emotionally responsible, deeply present, and willingly courageous enough to both be truly seen and to genuinely see him in return. When you consistently embody that kind of magnetic energy, you won't just fleetingly attract love. You'll keep it, you'll nurture it, you'll meticulously build something that doesn't just survive, but powerfully grows year after year. Because in the end, profound connection isn't magically found, it is meticulously created. One moment of brave truth, unwavering presence, and raw vulnerability at a time. So here's your most vital, final takeaway. Love that truly lasts isn't about being the most stunning, the most tirelessly giving, or even the most effortlessly understanding. It's fundamentally about being deeply, authentically aligned with yourself. When you truly know who you are, what you unequivocally want, and what you will absolutely not settle for, you will naturally, effortlessly attract someone whose energy is profoundly aligned with your own. And that, my friends, is when love ceases to feel like a nerve-wracking guessing game and finally begins to feel like something exquisitely solid, unconditionally safe, and soul-stirringly deep. We've talked extensively about what profoundly melts a man's heart, what inadvertently turns him off, and how to cultivate the kind of emotional gravity that keeps him drawn inexorably close. But none of that truly matters if, at your core, you are not choosing you first. Because here's the unshakable truth. Your next, most powerful move isn't about desperately trying harder to get him to love you. It's about showing up so resolutely rooted in your own self-worth, so brilliantly luminous in your own self-love, that you effortlessly magnetize the kind of extraordinary love that would never, ever ask you to diminish your radiant self. If there's one single profound insight I want you to carry from this entire video, it is this: you don't have to chase love, you become it. You become the kind of magnificent woman who intrinsically makes a man want to show up, not out of tired obligation, not out of nagging fear, but because the profound experience of being with you feels like pure truth, like boundless peace, like the ultimate undeniable home. Now here's your tangible next move. Begin today by practicing radical emotional awareness. Catch yourself the very moment you're about to react from a place of fear or insecurity. Consciously speak to him the way you unequivocally wish to be spoken to, with kindness and clarity. Don't be afraid to clearly articulate what you deeply want, but say it with grace, not demanding pressure. And when doubt inevitably creeps in, pause, breathe deeply, and confidently allow your unwavering, grounded energy to do the profound, magnetic work. Remember, you are not here in this life to desperately convince anyone to stay. You are here to exquisitely recognize who is truly worthy of walking this incredible journey with you. So boldly step into that powerful energy, claim it, live it, and then watch with awe what beautiful shifts unfold, not just within your romantic life, but in the majestic way you carry yourself through every single aspect of your extraordinary existence. And if this video resonated deep within your soul today, you already instinctively know what transformative steps to take. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell me, down in the comments below, what's the one powerful emotional shift you're committed to making, starting today? Because this isn't just a fleeting conversation, it's your moment. And your next level love story truly begins right here, right now.